From Vietnam, we crossed the border into Cambodia. I have to say, we are now getting pretty good at negotiating these official regulations and going through customs. Remember, travelling is the only way to live. This was our travel plan, but our main goal was to get to Angkor Wat. As I normally do, I put together a list of needs to know. They must see highlights. If you can, try and see every one of them. I promise you, you'll be amazed at some of the views you're likely to see. Important is, don't drink the water out of the taps. Bottle water, whatever you can. And if you visit temples, you must be modestly dressed. Here's a few more needs to know. The US dollar is widely used and often preferred. There's 17 million people in Cambodia, so take that into consideration. And don't worry about the language. English is widely spoken in all the tourist areas. What else? Guest houses, from budgets to boutiques. They have excellent value for money. Hostels are very, very popular with travellers in Cambodia. Finally, getting around in Cambodia is very easy. Tuk-tuks when you're in the city. Motorbikes and taxis also in the cities without any problems. Long distance buses are cheap and very, very reliable. When eating out in Cambodia, don't be surprised if you get fried tarantulas, crickets, or even ants, and rice. Rice is eaten with every meal. From Vietnam, we crossed the border into Cambodia, and I've got to admit we're getting pretty good at getting through these official regulations. Our first stop in Cambodia was Phnom Penh, the capital. One of the good things about these boarding crossings, as you can see, there's always a bunch of little minibuses willing to take you wherever you want to go. Make sure you have it written down, because sometimes the English language doesn't always work. As you can see, Phnom Penh is very, very busy. But don't let that worry you, because when you come out of your hostel, just find the nearest tuk-tuk and it'll take you wherever you want to go. The next morning, we came out of the hostel and we jumped into a tuk-tuk, and he took us to the S21 school, which was used, unfortunately, for the imprisonment and torture of 25% of the Cambodian people. Over 3 million people were murdered by the Khmer Rouge regime. And Pol Pot, their leader, was never charged and died of old age, a very evil individual. I took this photograph at the S21 school, but I'm very pleased to say it's over 40 years since the Cambodian people had to deal with this situation. There are many interesting places to visit in Phnom Penh, and the people are very, very friendly. You also must remember that if you go to temples or palaces, you have to dress modestly. Shoulders and knees must be covered. Every evening of the 7 days we were in Phnom Penh, we took a pleasant walk along the riverfront, looking for different restaurants to have dinner. The people are very friendly and it's totally safe. The Tony Slap River flows out of the Tony Slap Lake, and beginning in June, the rainy season starts, and the Tony Slap River overflows. It massively swells up and forces the Tony Slap River to start backtracking and return to the lake upstream. So twice a year, the river reverses its direction and flows back into the lake, the only river in the world that's known to do that. Lorraine and I are not really city people, so after 3 or 4 days we decided to head out into the deep rural areas of Cambodia, and we stayed a few nights with a local family. There was no electricity and only cold water. We were obviously considered VIP guests, as Lorena, that's her in the white shirt, and behind her is the mosquito net we were allowed to sleep under. The photograph in the top right was dessert. Yes, I really mean dessert, and those are real spiders. The photograph in the centre was the small market we passed, and on those trays, the first one is real snakes, and then there's worms, and God only knows what the other stuff was. But the good news was, as the photograph in the top left-hand corner shows you, there was lots of dirty, grubby, shoeless, unbelievably happy smiling children. It was well worth the visit. Photograph in the bottom right is their yard. No need to worry about lawn cutting in this yard. They had very, very big ice cubes in this little village. After dessert, they brought in a live spider, and I wanted to make sure it was really live, so I had it walk over my face. The photograph in the top right shows a friend that we met on our travels having great difficulty drinking spider wine. The bottom right is Lorena crossing that very, very modern bridge. I saved the best photograph till last. We borrowed a moped from the people in the house and we drove into the little town. And as I was driving along, this man drove past me at quite a fast speed. As we were driving back to the house on the moped, I spotted this little boy in front of me and I hit my brakes and slowed down. And Lorena said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Just watch." As the little boy approached me, I took off my baseball cap and I handed it to him. And that cardboard box you see on his head, that's what he was using to protect himself from the sun. And the smile on that little boy's face is worth 100 baseball caps. It is without doubt one of the best moments we've had in our 14 years of travelling. The smile was a perfect thank you. A bit further down the road, we met this little girl. I totally agree with that statement at the top of this slide. After 2 nights of living without electricity, we decided to head to the beach, and we got a little taxi that took us to Shankoville. Shankoville has hotels and beautiful beaches, but more importantly, a glass of beer was only 50 cents. Shankoville was equal to a western seaside resort. There was music and shows every evening, and we rented a couple of bicycles to ride around and outside the town. After a week at the seaside resort, we took a bus to Angkor Wat, which was the main reason for going there. This slide shows a little village that we passed on the way with floating houses, which looked very, very unique. What is Angkor Wat? Well, a picture speaks 1,000 words. Let's have a look. Angkor Wat is the world's largest religious structure, covering some 400 acres, comprising of more than 1,000 buildings, and every stone in those 1,000 buildings is carved with some religious inscription. Angkor Wat was constructed using sand blocks from the holy mountain of Phrom Kulen, which is about 30 miles away from where Angkor Wat is. And to get the rocks there, they were floated on rafts down the Siam River. I guess the logistics of such an operation are pretty mind-blowing today. And it was over 1,000 years ago when they built Angkor Wat. At certain times of the year, the sun sets directly on the centre of tower. Pretty amazing design. When we were fortunate enough to visit Angkor Wat a few years ago, it was one of the wonders of the world. In our 14 years of travelling, we have been fortunate as well to see all 7 wonders of the world. It is my personal opinion that Angkor Wat should be back on the list of wonders of the world. This slide shows the amazing fact that the trees are growing over Angkor Wat. Nature and man in harmony doesn't happen very often. The angle of the climb is 75 degrees. I promise you, it's a tough, tough climb. Cambodia is an excellent place to visit, and some of the sights you will see are quite unique to Cambodia. The people are very, very friendly, and it's unbelievably economical. The end. We really hope you've enjoyed watching this as much as we have enjoyed the last 14 years of travelling the world. Travelling, the only way to live.